Madam Chair, and thank you members of the committee for being here to listen to us after a very long day. Y'all, I'm at the Rules Committee for the second time this Congress to try and fix the Billionaire Bailout Budget, the most expensive single bill in American history, transferring wealth from working people to billionaires. I thought back in May that this bill just couldn't get any worse, but the Senate said, just wait, and they actually proved me wrong because the bill is actually worse. The first time the House debated and passed this bill, my Republican colleagues tried to hide it from the American people, debating it in the middle of the night, hoping that folks back home wouldn't notice what they were doing. This time, their cruelty has been on display in broad daylight all day long. My Republican colleagues are forcing a bill through that, Madam Chair, most of your colleagues haven't read this bill. They're voting to take food from the mouths of millions of families without even reading the bill. Democrats and Republican families alike who rely on SNAP, and y'all need to understand that the reliance on SNAP and the strain on food banks, they serve meals to millions across this country, not my constituents, but across all districts. When SNAP is slashed, food banks feel the pain in real time. Higher demand, increased strain on volunteers and donated supplies. This would make a bad situation worse for food banks across the country, including the Atlanta Community Food Bank in my district, which is already struggling after a $15 million funding cut following the defunding of local food purchase assistant cooperative agreement programs under this Republican administration. But I need to be clear, just because the Atlanta Community Food Bank is headquartered in my district, it serves 14 districts across the state. I was hoping that my colleagues from Georgia would have been here when I had an opportunity to speak, because in the 3rd Congressional District of Georgia, the Atlanta Community Food Bank serves people there. And I know that some of my other Republican colleagues in Georgia, 4 of them, also are served by the Atlanta Community Food Bank. Real people, like my constituent Denisha, will suffer, Madam Chair. Denisha is among the 1.4 million people who receive SNAP benefits in Georgia. She's a mother of 5, already struggling on SNAP just to make ends meet. I had an opportunity to talk with Denisha because she contacted my office after she discovered that her SNAP benefits were missing from her EBT card. Denisha says that she will do anything to feed her kids. That sounds like any and every mama that I know. Denisha turned to food pantries to help her family, and she told me food pantries are struggling too right now, and they could not even help me to feed my family. When SNAP is threatened, food banks are often the only place families can turn. So today, I propose an amendment adding a food bank relief fund to the bill. My amendment would appropriate $25 billion to the Emergency Food Assistance Program, supporting food banks that so many people turn to in these uncertain times. That's only a drop in the bucket compared to the billionaire tax cuts. The Food Bank Relief Fund is just one of the 18 amendments that I'm leading today. This moment will go down in history, no matter what path my Republican colleagues choose. I've chosen to fight for the people in my district who've called me day and night to ask me to oppose this bill. But make no mistake, this bill is not about cracking down on fraud or waste or abuse, because we're all against that. It's about taking food from children and seniors who depend on SNAP and ripping away the health care from nearly 17 million Americans who need Medicaid. Although I know my Republican colleagues will refuse to change their billionaire bailout budget and accept any of these amendments, I'll continue to bring the voice of the American people that would be harmed by this bill into the debate. Y'all, I came to Congress to serve the people, and I've heard from my colleagues on both sides of the aisle claiming that they're here to serve the people as well. But the Republican budget abandons them. These are real people, not line items in a budget. Families who rely on SNAP to keep their children fed, seniors choosing between food and medical treatments, veterans already without stable housing. Instead of delivering for them and the promise of America, you're giving tax breaks to billionaires. That's not public service, it's betrayal. So when you go home to your districts, you'll have to answer for it. I know I'm going to answer to my constituents that I'm fighting for. I yield back, Madam Chair.